Hi, I'm Vanessa from Ratings.com. Today, we're taking a look at Sony's new flagship home theater system, the BRAVIA Theater Quad plus bass module. In many ways, the Theater Quad does exactly what it says on the tin. There's a quartet of speakers that are designed to be placed around your room, and a dedicated subwoofer to help add some oomph to the equation. Plus, there's useful features like HDMI 2.1 with 4K pass-through at 120Hz, and sound field optimization. This feature adapts the sound to the acoustics of your room. But with no dedicated center channel, does the Theater Quad deserve to take center stage next to all-star bars like the Samsung HW-Q990D? Let's dive in. While the Theater Quad has a similar configuration to the 2021 Sony HT-A9, Sony hasn't rested on their design laurels. This model features a brand new aesthetic, with the iconic cylindrical design swapped out for a sleek, rectangular one instead. These new slimline speakers come in a light gray finish that can easily blend in with your home decor. Plus, they come with a nifty stand mechanism that also doubles as a wall mount. There's something to be said for the simplicity of their wireless design too, as the speakers only need to be connected to a power outlet. The power port is even located at the bottom of each speaker, a move that Marie Kondo would approve of. While it can make connecting the power cable a little fiddly, we've yet to see an exposed cable mess spark joy in anyone. The SA-SW5 sub, or base module, is the same as the one that can be purchased with the HT-A9. It's made of a durable plastic with a leatherette exterior, and it's about the same size as a desktop computer. All in all, there's a premium feel to the materials and construction that's indicative of its price tag. There's a small control box too, that links the speakers to the sub and houses the inputs and outputs. While it's not mountable, it's sturdy and well built, and even features a small display that lets you see the input source, settings, and menu. When it comes to connectivity, there's not too much that distinguishes this setup from the HT-A9. That said, the connectivity options on the previous generation were excellent. The Theater Quad comes spec'd out with HDMI 2.1 and supports a refresh rate of 4K at 120Hz, which is fantastic news if you plan on using it as a hub for gaming and want smooth, tear-free visuals. In addition to gamer-centric features like auto low latency mode, there's also support for G-Sync and FreeSync pass-through, ensuring everything remains in sync regardless of whether you're using a PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. As with most modern soundbars, there's also eARC and HDMI support to accommodate playback in the most popular audio formats, including Dolby Atmos, Dolby Digital, and DTS. Unfortunately, there's no optical support though, which is bad if you have an older TV. Of course, all of this low latency tech can be moved if latency via HDMI and eARC are high, and you're primarily using your setup to watch movies and TV shows. In this case, the Theater Quad's latency performance is actually a step down from the HT-A9 across all audio formats when using HDMI or eARC. So, you might need to make use of the AV Sync feature in the app if you encounter sync issues between your audio and video. That said, latency will vary according to the specific setup. If you want to know more about how we test latency, we've published a whole article investigating it with the link in the description below. Sadly, it's not all roses when it comes to wireless connectivity either. While there's the support for the usual suspects, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Apple AirPlay, and Spotify Connect, Chromecast support is a notable omission. Surprising considering its popularity and the fact that the HT-A9 supports this feature built in. Now, the BRAVIA Theater Quad might have a slightly unconventional configuration in comparison to most bars we review, but this comes with some notable advantages. The 4 speakers can be placed anywhere in your room, and you can run sound field optimization to ensure that the sound matches the acoustic characteristics of your space. This results in a truly exceptional soundstage performance that extends far beyond the width of a traditional bar. The sound is expansive and immersive and lends itself very well to surround content too, with the speaker's discrete localization. You'll need to be careful with how far apart you position the speakers though, as this can detract from the center performance. But more on this later. When it comes to frequency response, it offers a balanced sound with punchy bass, detailed mids, and smooth highs. The dedicated subwoofer means that there are liberal amounts of low end on tap that adds rumble to car chase scenes and club bangers alike. The accuracy of the mid-range helps render vocals and speech with great detail too. The speakers also convey height and Atmos content well, thanks to their up-firing drivers, which bounce sound upwards off of your ceiling. As a result, elevated sounds like drones or helicopters overhead sound accurately located. This bar can get pretty loud without compressing too much, though its dynamic performance comes with a caveat that we don't expect most users will encounter. These speakers don't really handle max volume well, as we discovered during our dynamics test. This test and others in our test bench requires us to push the speakers to max volume. But when we did, one of them took critical damage, causing a dip in the treble range reproduction. It still worked, but the sound quality was just not on par with how it sounded previously. That said, unless you're planning a particularly big, ambitious watch party using this system, we don't anticipate that you'll run into the same issue. Finally, it's worth discussing the main drawback of this kind of 4-speaker configuration, which is the center performance. In the absence of a conventional bar at the center, the 2 front speakers create a phantom center instead. Unfortunately, we found that this results in a loss of clarity in the center of the sound field. This makes it harder to identify the localization of voices and dialogue within the soundstage. If you own a compatible BRAVIA TV, you can connect it to the control box using the S-center output. This uses the TV's center speakers as a center channel instead. Subjectively, using the Sony BRAVIA 9 TV, we found that this wasn't much of an improvement on the default sound. It resulted in dialogue sounding pushed back and less present. Of course, it's worth noting that your experience with a different TV might vary from our own impression. There are some sound enhancement features available that can help counteract this though, like voice mode, which can help bring out voices and dialogue. Overall, the range of sound enhancement features is quite limited compared to other high-end soundbars, like the Samsung HW-Q990D. While sound field optimization can help calibrate the sound to your room, there's no dedicated EQ or presets in the app that you can tweak beyond a simple base level adjustment. Now that we've put everything on the table, or mounted it to the wall, it's time to weigh in on whether you should buy the Sony BRAVIA Theater Quad Plus base module. This system comes with a hefty price increase compared to its predecessor, the Sony HT-A9 with base module. But does this translate to a better performance and a better feature set? Not necessarily. The most obvious difference comes in the design of the speakers. While the sleek rectangular design of the Theater Quad speakers is more discreet and it can easily blend into your room, some may prefer the HT-A9's cylindrical speakers. The dual function stand/mounting system with the Theater Quad is an improvement though, adding versatility and convenience. The newer iteration has a more balanced overall sound too, with a fuller, deeper bass, and there's less compression present when you turn up the volume. While both systems feature HDMI 2.1 compatibility with 4K at 120 Hz pass-through, the Theater Quad's latency using HDMI and eARC is quite a bit higher than its predecessor too. Depending on your setup, you might find yourself adjusting the latency manually using the AV Sync feature in the app. The older model also has a few more sound enhancement options like EQ presets in the app, as well as built-in Chromecast support. It's also a fair bit cheaper. All in all, you'll need to decide whether these differences in design, performance, and features warrant the additional outlay. Looking beyond the Sonyverse, there's also value to be found in a setup like the Samsung HW-Q990D. This 11.14 system has a different configuration, with a central bar, a subwoofer, and flanked by 2 satellite speakers. While it lacks the Theater Quad's incredibly immersive soundstage, it offers a more balanced sound and a vastly improved center performance, without the need to bring in your TV speakers, though you can still do this via Samsung's Q Symphony tech. The Samsung offers considerably more scope for customizing the sound too, with a 7-band graphic EQ and a wide range of sound presets available via the companion app. It'll also make a much smaller dent in your wallet. It's still an investment in its own right though. Well, that's it for our review of the Sony BRAVIA Theater Quad Plus base module. Check out our website's written review to read more about this soundbar. There's a link in the description box below. Until next time, I'm Vanessa from Ratings.com, where we help you find the best product for your needs. Goodbye!